What is going on, everyone? It's your boy Throw Shocker, the 96 Hedgehog here with our other showdown draft league that we are going to be doing for you guys here is the LGA, and your coach of the Iowa John Slither. Hey, that's me. Are back for a new season where you're going to be in the divisions of the Orandi division. I think that's what it's called. I get that name completely wrong. But I'm very excited to be a part of a new draft league with a bunch of coaches that I've never even heard or played before. So it's very exciting. This was a league I decided to join just because of just the fact that I wanted to be a part of a different league instead of some of the leagues I always play. Which no disrespect to all the showdown leagues I do play all the time, but it's nice to kind of branch out, try something else, and we have a very interesting team. I think just like my OGDL team, which you may not even see in come in terms of this video, just depends on what you want to see first. You'll probably see that one first before this one. This is another team I don't think is going to be the best team I've ever played, drafted around with. But you know what? We're going to have some fun mons on this team. Some mons I've never used in drafts. Some mons that I have not gotten a chance to use since a very long time. And so this team is completely fresh to me, really realistically, in a way. So very excited for this team. If you guys are excited, but like you haven't already, subscribe if you are new. Join the Thrill Crew today because we'll be thrilling with the King of the Crew. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this draft analysis. Also, real quick, explain how Terra Captains are going to work this season. It's a little interesting how this season is going to be. They have to be Pokemon that are 9 or below, but you can only get enough for one or two captains max, and you have only a 10-point budget with your Terra. I decided to go with 2.2 Terra captains, so I do think these captains actually are really good. It is free Terra, so unfortunately, no Terra preview, so definitely gonna be something. Excuse me. That we're gonna have to very much be on the lookout for come this season. But very excited for this team that we drafted here. So I had the second pick, I believe, out of 16 coaches, which, believe it or not, they got 16 for each division, which is crazy. It was 14 or 16, I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was a very big long list. And it was the second time I actually got second pick, which is really good. And I really debated on a couple of things. I could have grabbed Darkrai, I could have grabbed Dragapult, I could have grabbed Palafin. Gorgeon Fire, I think, actually went round one. I would have probably maybe almost picked that up too, but I decided with Latios just because Latios is a Pokemon that I have really not used a ton of. I think the last time I used Latios was in a Wi-Fi league, and I didn't get a chance to use it all that well, and also get a much chance to use it. So very excited to have Latios. It has actually got a decent enough attack stat to take advantage of Dragon Dance sets, which is really good. But Latios got some pretty unique tools. First off, it got Aura Spirit from last gen, which it kept. Lost Mystical Fire, which is a little bit of a hurt, but nothing crazy realistically. It just means for those special weakness, like special lowering attacks that you can proc weakness policy with. It hurts it a little bit, but nonetheless, it's still fine. I don't know if it already had access to Earthquake, but no Earthquake. It somehow gets Flip Turn, which I don't understand why. It does not make any sense to me. But one of the biggest buffs Latios and Latias got is that their signature moves now went from 70 base power or such to now 95. And not only that, less birds don't have a 50% chance to lower the special defense stat. Means Latios can pretty much take advantage of any switching that comes in besides dark types, which already has plenty of comfort moves. Psychic Noise is actually really good utility on this thing as well to be able to stop potential mons that want to get Regenerator or Recovery off that you can shut down. I overall love Latios. We're naming it Jet. This is what I usually name my Latios. Very excited to use Latios after a very long time. Coming in around the second pick, there was a lot of things I really, really wanted. I actually was thinking about Sand, but I think Sand got picked up literally a few picks before me. Um, but there was just so many options, and surprisingly enough, this made it back to me with how many coaches we had. I was very surprised this would make it back to the second round, but it was definitely a Pokemon I wanted to try, and that is going to be my boy Disc from the Indigo Disc. Ah! But we have Terapagos here, and this is a very cool Pokemon. Now, these are the stats you will see from Terapagos, but do understand that I do have to build it in its baby form and then be able to transfer it into its actual form. So, definitely something I have to make sure I'm doing a lot of. Excuse me. It's like doing the whole thing with Zacian as well, which I have for a Wi-Fi lead that I'm doing that I'm not uploading, obviously, but it's gonna be one of those things where you get a specific form, so I have to make sure I am generating it correctly in that form to build with it. So Definitely gonna be something I have to make sure I am very careful of. But I really like Terapagos. It's a really cool Pokemon. It's a normal type, which is really good. Terra Shell is honestly got broken. Basically, when I'm at full HP, every single attack, even including super effective fighting type moves, they are not very effective on the very first attack on the turn the thing is in, which is really, really good. Plethora of coverage moves, which is insanely good on this Pokemon. And it's really really great. One of the best things about it too is that it's a spinner, which is really good. It's also a rock polish sweeper, and it's got stealth rock as well for hazards, which I think is overall really great. I don't know why the sprite's not loading in on here for some reason, but I overall am very excited to use Terapagos, and I do have a team that really. I won't lie, I did not draft the best around in terms of weaknesses, and fighting is going to probably be my bane of my existence this season. But we're going to have to just do the best we can and hopefully have a good time, not worry about fighting. Some scary fighting types, but hopefully Latios can be able to handle that for us. Going into round three, to pair with this, I did pick up another fighting weakness, but it was a really good fairy resist for this team that offered a really good utility for my Latios, and that is going to be Empoleon. I have never drafted Empoleon before, and very excited to try Empoleon. It's definitely a Pokemon that I want to use probably a little bit more towards an offensive stance than defensive. But it got access to Roost and Knockoff, which is very fantastic tool coverage that it has. Lost access to Defog, which is really unfortunate, but it's still a fantastic Pokemon. Very good bulky Steel type and Water type for a lot of teams out there. And I'm overall very excited to try this Pokemon. I have never used it, so it's gonna be really fun to try to explore. Excuse me, explore some of the verities with this mod and have some fun with it. I'm yawning for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because of the weather. I don't know. Going into my fourth and fifth round, I started to need to pick up some a little bit more bulk, but I also need to start picking up a little bit of more physical offense right now. That could be really good. And I am drafting a Pokemon that I have not used in such a long time since VPL, if you remember that league, which was almost a year or so ago, about a little over a year ago, probably now. We're bringing my boy Suka back, and I think I'm going to do it with a K instead of a C, just because I don't want people to think of something right. But we have Suka, our Iron Hands, which is I have Suma or Sumo for my Hariyama, so I want to go with a bit of a somewhat themed name that fits it. But Suka, I feel like was really cool. Iron Hands, I love this thing. Fantastic defensive electric and fighting that can just pair a lot of teams is very good. Iron Defense Body Press sets are really, really good. Iron Defense Weakness Policy is such a massive threat that a lot of opponents have to be fearing of every time they face off into this type of team. And I'm very excited, man. Excuse me, I'm not why I'm so tired. I'm super excited for this team because it can just function so fantastically well. I am very excited to use hands again after not using it in such a very long time. It is going to be a fantastic Pokemon, and I'm very much looking forward to using it again this season. Coming up next, I needed to start picking up a hazards, more hazard removal, but also need to start picking up some hazards. I have only two rockers at this point in time. I decided to go ahead and pick up a spikes user, but also another spinner, but also a decent enough, really good offensive Pokemon in Brambleghast. Brambleghast is one I have technically used when I took over a team, but I never drafted it. And I never wanted to draft it because it kind of sucked. The last time I drafted it, I instantly dropped it because I was never bringing it to a game, and I felt something better could do something for my team. Now, though, I have Brambleghast. I actually have a lot of respect for it because it's a really good offensive Pokemon, which is really good. Decently okay defensively, decent speed tier as well, which I think is really nice to pair off with the speed tiers that I have right now. So, overall, very fantastic Pokemon. And with having access to things like Wind Rider Infiltrator, I can get past substitutes, which is really, really nice. But also, Wind Rider, I ignore Heat Wave, I know Hurricane. Getting immunity to some of the most common moves you'll see on most of the Pokemon you'll battle. It's really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to my boy Tumbleweed here doing some work for me this season. Up next, we have my girl Elsa, a Pokemon I have not used literally in years, and I am very excited to try it this season. And we're picking this thing up. I decided on two things. One, I'm going to pick up one Snow Abuser to pick up out of this team, but also I wanted to set up a potential with this team with Aurora Veil. It's very, very good. It helps actually with some things because I do have Pokemon such as my Empoleon, which is competitive, which I think a lot of teams are going to definitely take in consideration when they try to defog away my Aurora Veil. Now, obviously, Brick Break is a scare move that I had to be fearing. But if it's in front of a fighting type, I can just always Moonblast KO that Pokemon and risk my screen. And if risk going no screen or not having screen, it's going to be a fantastic Pokemon. I am looking forward to using Elsa again after so long. And it also gave me a fairy type, which was really good, which I think was also really good. But yep. That also that base one on my speed here, which I also really was looking forward to and having on this team. Now I go ahead and pick up my two Terra captains because I paired this one and then I had to wait a long time and knew no one was going to grab it. I could have gone alone Sandslash, but that would have made sure that I couldn't Terra with my next Pokemon. So instead of probably going with maybe the smarter Terra option for a Terra captain, I decided to go with a lower end option, a Pokemon I've never used. And speaking of Pokemon I've never used, there's Rhydon. I've never used Rhydon in draft really at all, if not ever. And I think with this gen with Terra, I think it's a great opportunity for Rhydon to really see a lot of potential. And it can actually quite make good use of its ability Lightning Rod, which is fantastic for it, right? And also, it makes use of Rockhead with Double Edge, which is a fantastic normal type move. You hear that, people? Rhydon's moves are no longer useless. But overall, I'm very excited to use Rhydon here. It got rock polish, which is really really good because it can actually set up decently fast in front of a couple of things that can really be good for it. And Under Veil with setup with rock polish is very fantastic. We named it the original because it apparently was known as the original Pokemon, even though Mew is the technical quote first Pokemon ever made. But we don't know here or there. Now, this definitely is going to be placed more into being a special defensive side of investments and stuff like that. But under Veil, this Pokemon is going to be disgusting. I wouldn't be surprised that if we brought like a good Veil team and no team could really defog or get rid of Veil entirely, I see us going in with Rock Polish, SD, and then just claiming KOs with my Rhydon. I'm very excited for this Pokemon. I'm really hoping to use it well this season. Hopefully, get to bring it to a good couple of games because it definitely would be a fantastic Pokemon to bring if I can do that as well. Now, obviously, with picking up a snow user such as a Pokemon like that is also as well as like Fairy. Obviously, I had to pick up another Snowmon that can take advantage of the snow. And again, it's another Pokemon I've never used, and it's my second Terra Captain. And we have Cola, the Beartic. Now, I named it Cola because it's a reference to all those Coca-Cola commercials with the in the Antarctic, where you see the polar bears and stuff like that. That's the reason why I named him Cola. But this is a fantastic breaker under snow. Now, it is definitely probably the worst snow abuser because it is only got 50 base speed. But there is still room for this Pokemon to be able to do a lot of things. If anything, it is going to force my opponents to have to make sure that if they're bringing Scarfers, their Scarfers have to take into consideration for Beartic and max speed. Where if they don't want to, then Beartic can take advantage of that opportunity and be able to take advantage of that speed creep, which can really come into play in any type of matchup. Beartic is also my second Terra Captain because I do think if you're going to draft Snow and have an abuser, especially if the points to be able to do it, I do think having one mon that takes advantage of that is really good. Plus, it's a Pokemon that can work in and out of snow perfectly well. It's definitely a Pokemon that can take the snow aspect away and be able to run well, especially if it tears. It obviously loses that defense buff for snow, but it takes the advantage of still using the Aurora Veil to its advantage and really putting in a lot of good work for this team. I know Kyle A had some really good success with Beartic when he tried it and didn't get to pop off as much, but did well. And I know a lot of other people have tried Beartic and have enjoyed it for the decent part, but I am very looking forward to using Beartic myself. Hopefully, I can use it really well and hopefully get some wins with this Pokemon. Now, with my last two picks, I was really rounding up my budget. I think I only had like 10 points left. And I decided to go price heavy on one of them and just go with something I want to have fun with for the last one. And I picked up Hisuian Quillfish. The reason I did this, for one, I didn't have a dark type. Two, I didn't have a poison type. And this offered me now another secondary spike user, a T spikes abuser, and also a toxic spikes absorber. And Hisuian Quillfish is low key a very good Pokemon. It is very hard to deal with this thing defensively under the certain matchups. Also, a decent enough speed to take advantage of in spells when it comes to the bulk. Access to Eviolite, which is really great for this Pokemon, which I think is also really good. I was maybe thinking of potentially looking at as captain, but I think it's better as being Dark Poison because it only has that one weakness, and we have a few kind of okay answers to that one weakness, which is really good. But overall, I think Hisuian Quillfish is going to do really amazing. I don't know why I didn't name it, but we're going to name it. We're going to name it. Uh, you know what? We have Little Man. We have Little Man here. Because we have Big Man, the Overquill. We have Little Man, the Hisuian Quillfish. You guys know my good friend John names Overquill's Big Man. So we have Little Man right here. And then with my last 3 points, I decided to just get something that could be a little bit of help to the ground immunity. More importantly, I think it could just be a fun one to try. And that's Dodrio. Now, Dodrio on paper, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, it kind of sucks. I kind of wish I could have made this a Terra Captain because I think it would have been really cool. But base 110 speed's pretty good. Also base 1 attack. There's opportunities to set this thing up with Swords Dance and kind of click buttons, especially access to low kick and drill run, which it got from the DLC, so it's not walled like steels and rock types, which is really, really good. Other than that, it also now can beat electrics, which is fantastically done as well. So overall, I'm very excited to use this Pokemon. Very excited to see how well we do with this Pokemon. And I'm hoping to bring it to a good couple of games and try to get some kills with this one. For all the Gertie fans out there, because I even know my friend Owen and John love to name this thing Gertie for whatever reason. I don't know the origin story. But we're going to go with triplets, though, because they are literally triplets. But that's going to be the team, guys. Real quick as I talk over more, I'm going to show you guys what the team is again. Very interesting team. This is again, like I said, one of my best drafts ever. I think this is one of my again another weak draft for me. But you know what? This team is really fun. It's very different. It has a lot of mons. Like let's count how many mons I have never used. There's one, two, three, four, five. Hold on, basically five. Six, seven, like seven, over half of this team. Majority of this team I've not used. This I've used a decent amount of okay. I've only used this thing one time, and I've probably used this thing the most out of the three I've had that I'm reusing. So pretty much what feels like a brand new team to me. So I'm very looking much forward to using this team. And let me know in the comment section below what you think of this team down below. And give me some opinions of what you think would be some good ideas for this team and see what else I can do. There are still some potential things. I won't lie to you guys. I was sniped on Bastardon. I was actually going to go with Terra Bastardon, but unfortunately got sniped of it, which is very unfortunate. But yeah, that's gonna be the team. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys for week 1, where I don't know who the heck we take on. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.